doing? I know you've been sitting for a while, but I'm just so honored to be here. As he said, I'm a daughter of Ohio. I love no place more than Ohio. It doesn't mean it doesn't make me sad sometimes, but I love Ohio, and that's why I'm with all of you today. So the League of Women Voters, we do have a booth right here. Just so you know, we were actually first the Ohio Women's Suffrage Association, and we became the League in 1920. And we were formed by teachers and nurses, lawyers, reporters, businesswomen, the Federation of Colored Women's Clubs, the Council on Jewish Women, the Consumer League, the DAR, so many, this diverse group of women, all to make sure that once we had this right to vote that we had fought so long for, that we would be exercising it. I want to tell you about a few of our victories. I know we want to get to the candles, but I want to tell you because some of the things that we have achieved through grassroots activism still stand today, and it can feel sometimes very hopeless. But, you know, our voter registration drives used to be picking people up in our cars and taking them to the Board of Elections during business hours, until we got mail-in voter registration passed in 1977 and online registration passed in the early 2000s. There's all kinds of ways that our elections work so well here in Ohio that grassroots activists at the League and our allies like NAACP and ACLU secured, like early voting, absentee voting, drop boxes, disability access. But not even just on the access side, because they'll say that we only care about access. The bipartisan control of elections, the boards of elections, that's something the League championed. Post-election audits. Rules for runoffs when the races are close. But also we worked on the end of forced marriages, the ability for women to divorce in Ohio and own property and keep custody of their children, for parks like this one, clean water, funding for education, and so much more. And I tell you this because as soon as women got the right to vote in Ohio, we immediately started advocating to make sure that our government worked for us. And that is what we do today, and we do it together. We are open to all people. You don't have to be a woman. We're always going to keep women in the name to honor our suffrage roots, but we have folks of all genders, and we invite you to join us. We have leagues participating in 15 communities across the state, as well as thousands of communities across the country right now to honor John Lewis. And I was personally part of the delegation that marched across Edmund Pettus Bridge earlier this year at the 60th anniversary of Bloody Sunday, where the protesters, while praying and calling for voting rights, were brutally attacked, and that was led by John Lewis. That spurred the passage of the Civil Rights Movement and the the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act, because all of us for the first time saw these brutal images on the TV screens. And I think this is another one of those awakenings where maybe many of us had our own concerns, but right now we see that as government institutions are disintegrating, as we see the balance of power being disrupted, as we see constitutional rights being trampled for all of us, we are awakening to understand that once again, as a people, we must rise. And why am I here for voting rights? First off, I'm going to tell you this was supposed to be a vacation day. It was actually a vacation day. But when Mosey, who I adore, and who is an absolute friend to Ohio voters, when she asked, I said yes. And part of that was because I had the honor of meeting John Lewis in 2006. And part of that was because she's just so cool. But at the end of the day, voting rights, why? Voting rights preserve all other rights. A functioning democracy preserves the ability for government to be for and by us, rather than policies that happen to us. 2 days before the great John Lewis passed, he said this: "Together, you can redeem the soul of our democracy. It is not a state. It is an act. Each generation must do its part." Generation, it's more than time for us to do our part. The National League a few months ago declared a constitutional crisis. This is something we hadn't done before. We're fiercely nonpartisan. We never take stances on candidates or parties. But we declared it a constitutional crisis because the three branches of government we're not working together to uphold or protect the Constitution. And that's why we are calling on everyone, not just to vote, but to march, to sing, to testify, to protest, to register voters, to educate, to advocate, to speak truth to power. I ask you to join the Medina Mavens, but I also ask you to join the League. The League is one of the longest standing watchdogs for democracy and voters. And we need to have a stronger presence here in Medina County. You know, when we have volunteers in a county, we go and meet with the Board of Elections about voting access. We show up when there are people questioning the count. We distribute print voter guides. We have candidate forums. Again, never putting our thumb on the scale, because our only interest is making sure that voters have the information they need to make their voices heard, and then to advocate once those folks are in office. And so I just want to end here with a song, and they already sang it, but this is the song that I led. We had about a little less than 100 folks in Selma at the 60th anniversary from about a dozen states. And this is when we were all marching across the Edmund Pettus Bridge as the League of Women Voters. I led this one, so I'm gonna sing this one. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching on the freedom land. Ain't gonna let voter suppression turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let voter suppression turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching on the freedom lane. And now that the lights are lit, I'm gonna do one more. And this was actually a song. This is a spiritual that was sung about the Underground Railroad. It's about from Matthew, from the book of Matthew. Keep your lamps trimmed and burning. Keep your lamps trimmed and burning. Keep your lamps trimmed and burning. The time is drawing nigh. Children, don't get weary. Children, don't get weary. Children, don't get weary till your work is done. Thank you.